Here we are, another week in the metro area. We had some interesting weather, of course, as typical. Cold, warm, wind. I think a blizzard yesterday on Saturday. I was out here. We're on Lake Minnetonka today again. We had, yes, we'll call it a blizzard. 30-mile-an-hour winds, snow, but it's fun. Today, absolutely beautiful out here. I haven't put gloves on yet today. It's mid to upper 30s, light breeze. I just wish we had a little bit more snow cover. The lack of snow cover makes it tough for a number of reasons. Obviously, people slipping, noise reduction on top of the ice, light reduction on top of the ice. So from a fishing perspective, I do like a little bit of snow cover because I think it aids in our ability to catch more fish throughout the day, especially when we get maybe some sun, maybe some lighter conditions. I would love 2-3 inches of snow on top of this ice. Right now, if I'm not careful, I'm going to slip out from underneath this bucket. I'm looking at my daughter Callie over there, about 40 yards away, sliding on the ice, enjoying her best life. As Ben and Brody are back here, maybe you can see them, maybe you can't, trying to catch bluegills and crappies and everything else that swims. So this past week, I've pretty much been living on Minnetonka. I did fish some stuff north metro, Chisago chain, scouted some stuff, found some consistencies. I have been fishing shallower than a vast majority of the ice anglers have been fishing. Most of the people I see out here are out in the basins, and I totally get it. Most of the time they're looking for that sundown bite, after dark bite, a lot of sleeper fish houses. Makes perfect sense. They're spot on. Can't argue that. But we're running and gunning during the day, and we're getting up into these shallow weeds. Right now we're sitting in about 7-8 feet of water. We've caught fish all day in this zone. I've hit about 7-8 different spots on this particular bay. It's been really consistent. I've hit many other bays with similar patterns. Now, I haven't hit the dirty deep water, right? The stained water. I've been mostly fishing this cleaner water, and we've done pretty well in those areas. Now, here's the catch. Here's the caveat. You have to find weeds. And I'm not just talking 1-2 feet of weeds in the bottom, because that's this entire shoreline. You're going to go mental. I'm talking weeds that come up taller. And when you find those weeds that come up taller above that consistent flat mat of weeds, taller, you find your fish. You find your bluegills, you find your nicer crappies. There's bass there, there's walleyes there, there's obviously pike there. So you find those taller weeds, and you can do it one of multiple ways. If you have forward-facing sonar, by all means, punch a hole in the weed flat, spin it around, look for higher spots. Super simple. If you don't have that, not a problem. Punch a bunch of holes, get your underwater camera, get a handheld camera from Aquaview. You can throw it in your pocket, you can drop it down quick, walk over to the next hole, drop it down. That's how we found these taller weeds for decades before forward-facing sonar. Even with forward-facing sonar, I still have to go over and punch on top of these weeds and find the specific spots where these fish are holding. Once again, insert the camera. You can also do this with your flasher. You can run around with a lot of holes, drop it down, look for higher weed growth, and you can find that by seeing, it's not going to be your solid red line. It's not going to be your solid, strongest signal. Now, if you're in super heavy cover, you're going to see some of that, but it's going to look more like your fainter interference looking lines. Those are going to be your taller stalks of weeds. You're going to pick up different spots and angles on those weeds. That's generally speaking where these fish are. Now, when you get down and dirty fishing these weeds, I like to be efficient. I'm always running a pinhead, and a lot of people ask me, treble hook in the weeds? Yeah, I'm ripping it through there. I'm not really snagging many weeds. You will, from occasion, snag some weeds, but this gives me the efficiency to get down there quick, pound it through those weeds, flutter it through, work it for those aggressive crappies, aggressive bluegills, and I've been leaning towards a 32nd ounce pinhead. I've been using gold a lot the last week. Not 100% sure why. I've caught them on Wonderbread, perchy patterns, fire tigers. I don't know if it matters some days. All black, that black and purple chronicle color, caught me a ton of fish, but just a gold 32nd ounce pinhead seems to really catch a pile of fish. And I'm actually playing with some rods that I'm designing at Thorne Brothers. I'm not going to let the cat out of the bag yet, but this is a noodle version, and I like the noodle rod for these pinheads. You know that. This is about a 32 inch rod. I like that noodle because it gives me forgiveness, gives me solid hook setting power, gives me strike identification. A lot of reasons to fish a noodle rod, especially with the pinhead. And as you know, I'm taking that snap and I'm tying direct. 3-pound test frost mono, Spooler Elite reel, my all-time favorite reel. And that's my Pinhead setup. Talked about that a bunch. Just put out a video this week catching a pile of fish on a Pinhead. The other way I'm catching these fish, another rod I'm playing with at Thorne Brothers right here. Again, we'll let you know about that later. This is going to be your spring bobber rod. It's going to have that light spring, and I'm turning towards Tungsten. This is a number 12 drop kick. White glow underbred. I love that color. I either fish that color, glow red, black, and then from there I vary what I'm putting on the receiving end. I might put a plastic like a bolt minnow. I might tip it with a couple maggots, which I've had to do this week on a couple bites for the bigger bluegills. I've had to feed them meat. Those of you who know me know I don't talk a lot about live bait, but I actually have a little bait puck here right now with maggots. I just use all white. I think the colored ones and the red ones, they die off. I just use all white maggots. Stop at Thorne Brothers, buy a 500 count. I'm good to go for a while. Keep them inside these bait pucks in the drawer of your refrigerator. My wife doesn't seem to care as much. They can't get out of there. And I throw them in my pocket in case I need them. So that's been the other approach. I am using 2-pound test clear frost mono. Once again, Spooler Elite reel. That's my second combo. Another combo I've done really well on this week, and it's super fun to fish, is a Schoolie type rod. This is the Griff Chronicle from Thorne Brothers. This is a phenomenal. I think it's the best Schoolie rod I've ever seen or played with. Griff went with the little larger handle so you can cup that in your hand. It is the absolute right length. He's got that light action spring to see the most supple bites. Very good bend to this. And I'm putting the Schoolie reel on there and 2 or 3 pound test line. These little knobs I buy from my buddy Stuart Manny at Ace Custom Rod. You can buy these knobs, throw them on your Schoolie, and I'm fishing that Griff Chronicle with a confetti drop and actually a soldier fly. I love this profile, especially in the shallow cover. It looks like a little young of the year bluegill, young of the year crappie. That's what these big crappies are actually feeding on. So I'm fishing that black and chartreuse confetti drop XL hook. Pairs up well with that soldier fly. And I'm working that bait down the water column. And this thing weighs nothing. I wish you could hold it right now as you watch this, and you obviously can't, but this combo right here weighs next to nothing. Super, super fun combo to fish. So that's my third setup. That's my 1, 2, 3 approach right now for the panfish in these shallow cover. I'm talking under 10 feet of water. We have gone out to 12, 13 feet, but it seems like 5, 6, 7, 8 feet has been key. Find those weeds. That's been important. It's the dead of winter. I get it. We have 20 inches of ice. These fish won't leave the weeds. Don't neglect the weeds. Don't just zip right out to the basin. Now, if you're going to ice camp, totally get it, because you're going to get those nomadic wandering schools of crappies that come through here, where in these weeds after dark kind of shuts off. You're not catching a whole lot, so this is a day bite. But get out there and play around. I run an 8-inch auger and I run a 6-inch auger. I run an 8-inch auger so I can get my active target deucer down there. I run a 6-inch auger, which is all these holes you see behind me, so I can be efficient and cut fast. I run it on a drill plate. I run a Milwaukee drill, and away we go. So that's kind of what we're seeing. I didn't even look at the forecast this next week. I think it looks like it might actually be February. I believe, if I remember, 20s, single digits at night, which is what we can expect for February, not this take your shirt off and put on a pair of shorts type weather like we've seen this week. Almost 50 on Thursday. So I think a little bit of that's behind us, and we're going to get some normal weather for a change. I plan to kind of attack things the same way I am now. I'm going to continue to focus on these shallow weeds. I'm going to put a little sweat equity into ice fishing and cut a lot of holes. Even with the modern tools that people talk about, I'm still going to cut a lot of holes. I'm still going to chase down these fish. Yesterday, if Terry and Luke are listening, we had a guy trip out here. They know darn well just how many holes we cut, probably close to 100 to stay on top of these shallow weed fish. And we did all right. We caught fish, we had fun, and that's the nature of the game. So get out there, chase them down, put on the warm clothes. I am going to need my Blackfish top, I promise you, as we get into the week. It looks like tomorrow, Monday, tomorrow night, things are going to plummet. Might get below 0 tomorrow night again. And I'm just hoping for a little bit of snow. So get out there, have some fun, catch some fish, be safe. Hopefully some of these tactics work for you. If not, sink a big sucker on a tip up, the pike are chowing. Maybe do some primetime walleye fishing. It seems like people are having a little success on the walleye game. We are catching some nice largemouth in the shallow weeds, which is a bonus and a whole lot of fun. So you never know what you're going to catch, especially up in the cornucopia of the jungle. So that's another one of the reasons to fish the weeds, is you just don't know what's going to be on the end of your line. Get out there, have some fun, be safe, and set some hooks for me.